It's funny. People always be like, don't forget about the little people. It's like, why do they refer themselves as little anyway, you know? Why don't you just get big with me? Feel me? They can see it in my eyes.
Greetings and salutations, folks. Welcome to another episode of John's Entitled Podcast, a partner of MoshPitNation.com. This week's guest is the incomparable Dez Fafara of DevilDriver and Coal Chamber. Dude couldn't have been nicer. I was really looking forward to getting this chat done, and, I was kind of a little bit worried. He was doing a couple of days of pressers, long days of press, and interestingly enough, as you'll hear right in the beginning of the conversation, Forbes magazine was talking to him before I got to talk to him, which I don't think I will ever have someone tell me that they were talking to Forbes magazine before me. So that was a little bit surreal, in addition to talking with Dez. I had met Dez once before in person, and that was the year that Ozfest was free and the DevilDriver was on it. And the dude couldn't have been more hospitable and nice even back then, so it was really great getting to chat with him now, all these years later, in a different capacity for the podcast. They are currently getting ready to drop their newest album, their Outlaws country album, called Outlaws Til The End, out July 6th, which is this Friday when you're hearing this, out via Napalm Records. Has such guests as Randy and Mark from Lamb of God, Brock from 36 Crazyvist, Lee fucking Ving from Fear. It is a crushingly heavy album. I can't wait for everybody else to finally hear this record. They've been piping the shit out of this thing, and for rightful reasons. It is a really great record, and I think honestly, if DevilDriver were to just drop this and not tell you that it was a covers record, I don't honestly think people would know. It just sounds like a DevilDriver record, a really fucking heavy DevilDriver record. So I'm really looking forward to everyone finally getting to hear this record and to start bumping these songs, maybe live. I'm going to be seeing them at the Incarceration Festival, as well as I haven't decided if I'm going to try to make it to the show that they have at the Music Factory in Battle Creek, but I'm hoping they get to dust off some of these songs and give them a live performance and see how the crowd responds to some of these songs, along with such classic staples as Swingin' the Dead and all the other classic DevilDriver hits. Speaking of introducing new songs, want to introduce this episode's sponsor, which is a band called Foxbat out of Louisville, Kentucky. They wanted me to premiere a new song, Slow Strut, off of their upcoming album Rot Gut, out August 3rd via Core Sample Records. This album was produced by Jordan Haynes of Artifacts Perio. And pre-orders for the record are live now over at www.foxbat.com. The album will be available in both vinyl and CD formats. We love having new sponsors on the show, and very much like it was when I used to book shows, I always love finding different interesting bands to play for people in hopes that maybe it becomes a new favorite band of theirs. So I want to thank the guys for reaching out to me to sponsor this episode, and you're going to hear them over the course of a few episodes upcoming on this podcast, so you're going to get to know those guys. So go on over there, pre-order the new album if you like this song. Again, this is going to be Slow Strut off of Rot Gut, out again August 3rd via Core Sample Records. So we're going to listen to Slow Strut by Foxbat and then right into my conversation with Dez Fafara of DevilDriver.
me being 20 minutes late for an interview never happens, but I was on the phone with Forbes magazine, and I got to be honest with you, I'm not going to cut them off.
Oh, no, for sure. I saw your tweet about it, and I was like, damn, got some fucking baller status going on with that.
Right. Well, the Oracle management is just taking off. There's all sorts of partners involved, and this thing is just getting to a point now where people actually start to see that it's going to be in the movers and shakers column kind of thing, where we're kind of the entrepreneurs of the future right now, is what they just said, and they're really interested on where we want to take the company and what we want to do with it. And yeah, so yeah, I apologize for being 20 minutes late. Let's go ahead and go.
No worries, man. Forbes is way more important than me.
No, not to place importance on one publication over the other. It's just that simply I've never talked to Forbes, and I consider myself a hell of a businessman, and I run 5 companies. So
well, I'm definitely going to get to one of those later on in the chat too. So
yeah. So it's just definitely about time they called.
No worries. So I'll just get right into it then.
Cool.
So I have the pleasure of talking with Dez of DevilDriver. They are getting ready to release a new album, Outlaws Till The End, out July 6th via Napalm Records. How are you doing, Dez?
I'm doing fantastic, man. Been up since about 5 a.m. and I'm in the office working my ass off today.
Sounded like, from, like I said, reading all your tweets earlier in the last bunch of pressers and so forth.
Just we've been up here in the office working, and then did some other interviews, and we're on with you. So
awesome. Well, thank you very much for taking the time. I'll get right into it with you. So how did the concept for this covers record really come to be?
What had happened initially was we had an off day on a tour. We walked into, I guess it was the Mall of America, all of us, after a big meal, and we took one of those cowboy photos.
Okay.
Where everybody was all dressed up. And it hit me about 2 weeks down the line. I had that thing in the back of the tour bus all wrapped up, and I opened the cupboard and I saw it about 2 weeks later, and I was like, you know what? I'm back here listening, to Johnny Cash before the show. We just listened to Willie Nelson before the show. I keep hearing these songs heavy for the last 10 years, since I was a child, actually.
Okay.
And it's like, look, this is something we should do. I think, we need to shake things up. Let's let everybody in on what's already known, which is that heavy metal people listen to outlaw country. I mean, if you're tailgating outside my bus, I'm going to hear Metallica into Pantera, into Johnny Cash, into Slayer, into Willie Nelson, into Waylon Jennings. I mean, and that's what I grew up around when I started touring with bands like Pantera, when I went out on things like the Ozfest, and I'm the kind of guy who walks through the camps and everything, and goes and talks to people when they're tailgating. I mean, I come from a very blue collar working class background, so that's just part and parcel part of me. And I would be sitting there having a beer when I used to drink. I'm sober now, but when I'm having a beer, and oh, you like this, man? I fucking love Willie Nelson. And here's the long-haired dude, completely covered in tattoos with a Slayer shirt on, going, fuck, I love this song. So yeah, that's how it all came together. It was like what is the word? Yeah, it just needed to be done, man. It needed to be done.
So something that when kind of prepping for this interview, and something I was thinking of, reading the comments leading up to the announcement of this record and so forth, which they always tell you don't read the comments, but it was kind of interesting going through and reading some of them and almost having it feel like when DevilDriver was first announced and everyone kind of wondering how it was going to sound in comparison to Coal Chamber. Have you found that this is kind of a similar scenario for you?
Oh, people could not wrap their head around this, man. The only people that really wrapped their head around it was my wife and I and the band. And even they didn't know how many guests were going to be on it and what was really going to happen with it. But I'll tell you, like, when you tell your label, and they're from Austria, that you want to cover outlaw country heavy metal songs and make them heavy metal and put them out, for them to even come forth with a yes was incredible. But then for them to back the project, and even them, when they heard the first couple songs, they were like, oh, we get it. Like, they actually thought previously to the record deal, like as we were signing, that I was going to go do country tunes over DevilDriver, that I was going to sing country.
They didn't
God bless Napalm Records. They were like, whatever the fuck you want to do, Dez, we believe in you as much as you believe in yourself. And then when they got the songs, obviously, you know, the first song they heard was Ghost Riders
Okay.
with me, John Carter Cash, Anna Cash, and Randy from Lamb of God, and they were like, "Oh fuck," you know.
I guess it's kind of interesting now because with, you know, you have like a musician like John Five who always praises, his chicken picking style and so forth, and always being an unabashedly fan of country music and so forth. So
Yeah.
even with like Aaron Lewis having kind of left the Stain thing to do more traditional country, I would kind of call it. But I mean, you have mainstream success of someone like Chris Stapleton who's kind of going back to that throwback country sound. Do you feel like it was just the right time to kind of to do this?
You know, man, I want you to get into this conversation, man. You can't talk about. Look, everybody loves Chris Stapleton.
Oh,
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? But like, he's fucking pop. Like I go to Jamie Johnson, man.
Okay.
If you want outlaw, go listen to Jamie Johnson. It's like Chris Stapleton to me sounds like Brad Paisley just tried to outlaw it up a little bit. I'm sorry.
It was just more the mainstream level of like someone kind of
Right.
not being so. I can't necessarily come up with an artist off the top
Well,
of my
you know,
head.
hey, it's because he showed up in a long black duster with long hair and a beard and a cowboy hat, right?
Right.
But listen to the music. It's so fucking far from outlaw, dude. So you know what? I have to sit at my like relatives' barbecues and shit while they listen to Chris Stapleton all day long, and I'm like, if you don't put in Hank 3 or you don't put Jamie Johnson or you don't put John Carter Cash in, I'm fucking out of here, man. Like. And I'm sure Chris is a great guy. I'm just saying he's on the pop end of things. So we didn't touch any of those artists for this thing. We went straight for what we thought was either outlaw, like Willie, Waylon, Cash, or what was severely out there and diverse, like Dad's Gonna Kill Me, the song Dad's Gonna Kill Me.
Right.
So you know, and that's obviously anti-war, anti-violence at home. There's the lyrics to that are fucking intense. And I didn't even know if I wanted to do that song. That was Mike Spreitzer brought that in. And when I saw it had like 42 million views, I was like, Jesus, somebody's listening to this, right?
Right.
But we just wanted to attack the outlaw country genre, put it together with heavy metal, which I think we did very well. And the lyrics of outlaw country are so poignant, so real, so authentic, that, and I say this in our EPKs, it's like a lot of metal is singing about shit like I've never seen a fucking dragon. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
and I've never lived through a fucking Viking war. So like, I can't listen to it. It doesn't touch me. It's not hitting my heart. Right. It's like, so let's do something poignant and lyrically real. And you can't get any more lyrically real than the true outlaw country artists. And if you've got a rebel in you, which I have in me, then you definitely want to do something different. And this is what this is. This is DevilDriver simply doing what I've done my whole life, is fucking rage against the system, rebel against the system, do what they say can't be done, won't be done, shouldn't be done. I had a very powerful A&R guy that I'm good friends with from another label say to me, man, you should have made this a Dez record. This should have been your first solo. I don't know if this fits with the DevilDriver aesthetic. I don't know if this is going to be bad for your brand. And I remember the exact words out of my mouth were like, you fucking kidding me? You've known me for 25 years. Have I ever failed? And he's like, no. And I'm like, you'll see. Last week, I sent him the link. And I sent him all the artwork. And I printed the email out, man, that he sent me, because this is one of the most powerful people in the industry. And he sent me. I printed that email out, and my wife had it framed within 24 hours and put it up in our office. Because it was like, it basically went like this. Should I ever not believe in you again? Should I ever not trust your tenacity, your drive, and your will? Please let me have it, basically. And this is a 65-year-old man who's, drives a Rolls to fucking work. And he's like, should I not believe in you again? Let me have it. And I was like, oh, I will. I will. And what's great about that conversation is 24 hours later, that same gentleman called me and complimented me on the Oracle management and what we've been doing over here, and says that him and a lot of people in the industry have been watching what we're doing. So these are killer conversations. And this goes along with doing something like what DevilDriver is doing, an outlaw country record, where I love going against the grain, man. I was raised to go against the grain. I mean, when I put out Coal Chamber, that shit was against the grain. When I put out DevilDriver, like that was way against the grain for where I had come from. But I follow my passions, I follow my loves, I follow my beliefs, and I love music, I love business, and I love art. So I do all three of them with zeal.
Kind of speaking to making the art of this record, what was the process like for you to pick the songs that would eventually make up this whole album?
We were on tour at the time, and I basically wrote down 4 or 5 that I had to do, like Ghost Riders, Whiskey River. Then Neil came to the table with 1,000 Miles from Nowhere, and Mike came to the table with Dad's Gonna Kill Me. And then it was like, okay, look, are we going to cover this song? Or are we going to cover that? So basically everybody put 5 or 6, 7, 10 tunes down that they thought they wanted to do. And then we narrowed it down, and just said, let's narrow it down. Like for instance, I put out Outlaw Man by the Eagles. Mm-hmm. And it's like, well, wait, are the Eagles outlaw country? Like, well, yeah, kind of, dude. Look at their fucking photos. They're all dressed like cowboys. They're wearing gun belts across them. They're wearing bullet belts across their shoulders.
Right.
They're fucking doing total country music in the 70s. They're getting in their private limos to race each other in their private jets. Like, yeah, that's outlaw. I mean, when you're in a private jet trying to race the other guy in the private jet back to your place in Denver, so the first person that gets there can get the cocaine, that's about as outlaw as it gets.
Right.
And so, so I picked Outlaw Man, and that's one of the ones that I didn't want any other guests. I had a lot of guests say that they wanted to do that with me. I said, no, this is my song. I am an outlaw. I was raised an outlaw's son. The highway is my legacy. On the highway I will run. I was like, there's nobody that's going to sing that with me but me. I've been on the road for 25 years. So I think people are going to love this record, man. We've been getting insane feedback. I mean, we had Rolling Stone as our partner for the release. So that'll just tell you what's really happening.
Yeah, I actually got the record about 40 minutes before we did this chat, so I was kind of quickly going through it.
Did you hear it?
Yeah, I did. It was funny because, like, even though you guys have all collectively and on, the Adrenaline PR and, like, all the PR firms and so forth, everyone was saying, like, it's surprisingly heavy. And, you read these things and you never know. And then, like, upon listening to it, I was like, fuck, that is surprisingly heavy. And wow, that slide guitar on this, like, works really well. And, I was kind of wondering how some of the guests were going to come across. Like, Brock with his distinct voice was interested to see how that song was going to be and was like, nope, fuck, Brock fits really well on that song.
Oh,
like,
he killed it. I don't think without Brock's voice on that, and Brock's a very close friend. Without Brock's voice on that song, that wouldn't have been the way that it was. He fucking killed it. Like without Burton C. Bell's voice,
yeah,
like on that chorus, it would have never been the song that it is. Here's the thing too, man. I was approached by several other people going, this is a perfect opportunity for DevilDriver. And I was like, what are you talking about? Well, this is a perfect opportunity. I mean, you guys do something with clean vocals, and you do something that's clean and can get on country radio and on active rock radio. Like, oh my God, you guys will be the biggest band. And I fucking slammed the phone down on every person that ever fucking said that to me, man. I was just like, you don't get it. Are you heavily medicated? What the fuck are you saying? Like, okay, so I can sing my ass off, dude. Clean vocals. I can sing my fucking ass off. No problem, right?
Right.
But it didn't belong, man. Like, and when it did, it was like, hey, Neil, my guitar player, add some cleans to this. Okay, cool. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I was approached going, hey, man, if you guys do this right, if you come up with a hit country song, like, and it goes, it goes big on country radio, like, it'll really make this band. And I just told that person on the other, you fucking ruined my career. It's a good thing you're not my manager.
And kind of speaking to having a lot of the guests and kind of going down a different road proverbially. That's not even a word.
Proverbially.
Yeah.
Proverbially.
I'm gonna.
Like me. I was trying to say compartmentalized.
Right.
And I swear to God, since I was probably 9, I can't get that word out.
Well, like, okay, so 2 things real quick on that, because I always find it funny. I am a stickler for pronunciation and making sure I'm saying a word right. And something that always kills me is when people say supposedly, which is not a word. which just always kills me. And I'm like, oh, it's not a word. Do I correct you? And then I'm always like, never mind.
Supposedly, I check. It's okay, man. I'm a fucking writer, and I constantly write there, as in there, THERE for you, for there. People are like, God
okay.
damn it. And people are like, God damn it, Dez. And I'm like, hey, man, I'm in a hurry. It says the same thing. Shut
Right.
up.
Right. No, but I mean, I was gonna say, Jost is notorious for that on his podcast, like saying a word and be like, "Is that a word? Sounds legit. I'm gonna go with it." So,
Right.
but I was gonna say, in putting this
I love
record,
that. I love that guy, by the way.
yeah,
That's
well,
one of my, yeah, that's one of the guys I fucking look to. Like, he's got perseverance, not just to pun his not to pun his record, but he's fucking that guy who he's going to be here 10, 15 years from now. And I think we both admire each other for the fact that we both are not going anywhere anytime soon. And so, yeah, you can't mention Josh's name without me coming out of pocket and going, I love that band, man. Like, every one of those dudes is the coolest. So, yeah.
yeah, we just saw him around here a couple of weeks ago on that tour,
Cool.
and just fucking insane. Still, never.
Yeah.
I'm always surprised, and I don't know why. But as I say, in putting this record together, and obviously taking a song that already exists, but kind of putting your own spin on it, how long does it kind of take to really get your head wrapped around how it's supposed to sound, to where when you hear it, you're like, that's it, that's what we need to be doing?
I heard Whiskey River, and I heard Ghost Riders in the Sky, and I heard Whiskey River, and I knew we were immediately onto it.
Okay.
They were, and we're going to do the word thing. They were DevilDriverized,
TM.
and they had become Devil Driver. And Randy from Lamb of God said it best. He was just supposed to be on Ghost Riders with us, and you'll see it in the EPK and the interviews. He was just supposed to be on Ghost Riders. He's like, of course I'll be on Ghost Riders. Like, well, dude, today, I mean, you came in 4 days early because we're going to surf and we're going to hang out. But today I'm getting ready to lay Whiskey River. You want to be on this song with me? And he's like, yeah, let me hear it. And he's like, dude, it's like a dark, I mean, his exact words were, when I heard it, it was like a Dark Throne tune.
Okay.
So it's fucking, and you have Whiskey River, you have the record. So it's almost basically a black metal tune,
Yeah, it is.
I just wanted to make sure to go against everything that person said to me on the phone. Whereas, like, if you do Devil Driver light, you could extend the career and make it so big. And I was just like, oh, I got something for you, baby. And the knife is so sharp, you won't even fucking feel it go in.
And speaking to Randy and a lot of the guests that are on it, between Brock and Randy and Mark from Lamb of God as well, and Lee fucking Ving, which, I mean, when I saw that he was going to be on it, I was like, God damn it. And my wife, like, when I was telling my wife about it, she was like, is that annoying guy from Sound City? And I was like, no, he's not the annoying guy. To you, he may be, but no, he's a fucking beast. And I was really stoked to see him pop up on this record. And, I mean...
Let me tell you, man, about Lee Ving. First of all, I've been, and I'm going to throw names, and I'm not that guy. But I've been fortunate enough to work alongside a lot of people. I've done songs with Ozzy and Samo, Nikki Sixx. Like, working with Lee Ving, like, that's my hero. The first time I put my middle finger up to an abusive household that I had at home and left, I was 15, and I was wearing a Fear shirt and fucking blue Doc Marten boots. So that's like my hero. Okay, so the first time I got Lee on the phone, he spent the first 10 minutes singing Hank Williams songs to me, dude.
That's awesome.
Right? So what is that? You know what I mean? How does that play out in a kid's life? Which at that point, I'm like a kid. I'm listening to Lee Ving sing Hank 3 on the phone, and here's my punk rock hero, But jamming with him was a totally fucking separate thing, too. People don't know this, man. Schooled musician. Mother gave him a mandolin at a young age. Loves blues, country, all of that. Has a fucking country band called Range War. People don't know this kind of shit, right? So you meet your heroes, you end up jamming with them, and you end up becoming friends, and you learn all this about them. That was the thing for me, right? Like, what's going on here is people used to jam with each other in the 70s.
Right.
You'll get up on stage, the Eagles, this, that, everyone's jamming together. Like, that all stopped. Now it's all fucking, everything is, eye against eye. It's all fucking me against everybody, every band against every band. It's like, no, man, I want to do something that is reeking of friendship, is reeking of realness, is reeking of over the top pushing boundaries, and that's what this is exactly. And then you start adding the guests. I mean, it was incredible when people started to come on. So yeah, Lee coming on, massive deal for me, dude. Mark Morton laying a fucking solo. That's one of my favorite guitar players in the world, actually, and one of my fucking homies. I mean, so having a guy like that on this was incredible, and then Randy on 2 songs, and there's a ton of guests that I asked that said they wanted to do it, but got caught up with things. Like Glenn Danzig was the first one I asked.
Oh shit!
And he was the first one that was in. Dez, I'm in. But then, obviously, all the Misfits stuff started happening. And I'm like, well, how am I going to tell you to come sing this with me when you're getting paid $2 million to play in the Misfits tonight? So it's not going to
right.
But I have no doubt that on Volume 2, a friend like that will come around, and it was incredible for me along the road to talk to people that were like, dude, I'm on tour during that time, but if you do another one, I'll be in. Like the Corey Taylors.
Right.
Like, I can't do it. I'm leaving with Stone Sour. But his exact words were like, I'll be one of the ones to push it for you. I'll help you push it. I was like, man, the camaraderie. So that's what I was trying to accomplish, is the camaraderie of all of us jamming together. But what got accomplished was the camaraderie of everybody that wasn't even jamming on the project, saying that they were down for it, they were going to push it, and can't wait to fucking hear it. And it became, a huge family affair, man.
Well, you kind of touched on one of the last questions I really wanted to talk about as far as this record, which was, was there enough material to do potentially another one, like songs that were left on the table? And then the last part of that question was, do you see yourselves like kind of touring in support of this and kind of doing like an interesting like evening with, where you just kind of play, a set of, everything that's on the record and maybe some other stuff that hasn't made it on the record yet as like a tour for this record?
We really don't know. You're going to see a lot of EPKs where everybody talks about that.
Okay.
Do we play these songs on stage without guests? I don't think so. We could do like Outlaw Man or the ones that me and Neil do, but this isn't that project. This thing needs to exist with the guests. So I am putting it to the label now, and it will be, look, this thing, and let's go into it here. 2.5 years in the making. This thing was a fucking logistical nightmare, and kept me up so many nights. It was incredible, like really a stressful fucking record to make, and nothing that comes easy is worth it, right? So,
right.
Whenever somebody says, "Oh, our record was so easy and fun to make," I'm like, I'm not even going to listen to it. It's going to suck because our art should be hard to fucking come by, and I'm going to put it towards the label like this. I want to get in 2 buses. I want to get a crew. I want to get all the singers in one bus and a crew in another one. And I wanted to do 4 shows. I want to do Nashville, New York, LA, and Vegas. And I want to bring John Carter. I want to bring Lee Ving. I want to bring Wednesday. I want to bring everybody. I want to bring everyone. Now, how is that going to happen? That everyone's going to be off tour. It's going to take at least from this point now a year to get it together.
Right.
But I'm telling you, it's going to happen. And I make things happen. It's that's just what I do. So I'm gonna make that happen. And why? Because I simply want to be on a bus with all my bros for 4 days. Fucking be hilarious.
Yeah. Speaking of making things happen, and like you had mentioned earlier, just having a lot of business and a business mind. Something I kind of wanted to talk about, since I don't really hear you get to talk a lot about it, is Suncraft or Suncolt surfboards.
Right. Oh, you know what? Hold on 1 second. Let me tell this. Sorry, bro. They've called like 9 times. I don't know who they were. So,
no worries.
Right. Well, I enjoy building. It's why I left Coal Chamber and started DevilDriver from the ground up. Got in a van and an RV and restarted because I enjoy the build. We started the Oracle Management because I enjoy the build, because I enjoy building other artists' careers, because I enjoy building. Right. And I think Suncult was part and parcel me. About 2 years ago when I came home, I had taken my first like pretty significant time off in about 20 years. I had taken like 6 months off, which for me was
That's a lot.
that's just insanity to say I'm going to be home. And what I ended up doing is going back to my roots, which were, what am I going to do daily? I'm sober. So if I'm not gym guy or, hanging with the family, it's like I surf. So I started surfing. I started making boards. With the company, I started making apparel, And from there, it really started to take off. We launched an Instagram. And now we've made Randy from Lamb of God as a partner. My younger brother Brian is a partner in the business. I'm talking with numerous mentors right now that have massive clothing lines, like $10-12 million a year clothing lines, on how to get Suncult into big box stores, which is Macy's and Kohl's and all that. We've been talking to numerous other surf shops that are big, that are all around the country. I won't mention any names right now until it comes to fruition. So we're really going to see where that goes. Look, it's a lifestyle brand.
Mm-hmm.
We have shirts that say "Listen to heavy metal and surf." And we're the only ones out there with that aesthetic. And on the beach, there's a ton of that happening. Long hair, tattoos, and everyone's surfing. So.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting because, thinking of that kind of being your MO for the brand, obviously you said you had Randy involved, and, I've seen his posts on Instagram about it, but, there's actually kind of seemingly more people coming up in that world that are in, heavy metal and also surf. Like, Nick Hippa comes to mind from Woven War, who's been like a proponent of skateboarding, but surfing for a long time. And so it's just one of those that it was almost like you saw the writing on the wall, like, well, I love this thing, and I also am in this, and there are other people. Like, why hasn't anyone kind of tried to marry these two? So
right, and we're letting the music, both DevilDriver, Lamb of God, and heavy metal in itself, we're letting those things drive the company.
Yeah.
And I think it's doing wonderful. And too, it's like we did a soft launch last year through this year, and later on this year to next year, we're going to do the harder launch and go for commercials and things like that, ads, etc. But we needed it to grow. Look, you know what? How about this? I own shares in Blackcraft Clothing, and okay. I look up to Jim and Bobby as businessmen. They're great dudes. They're mentors. What they've done is absolutely fantastic with that brand. And so what I realized is they let it grow organically, and that's how we're letting Suncult grow, is organically. Randy wears the shirts on stage. Next thing you know, I wake up to, however many orders the next morning.
Right. Yeah, I work for a screen printing company that does stuff for like PacSun and Zoomies and Tillies and all that stuff. So it's like constantly seeing like the ever-changing trend in clothing over the last couple of years of working.
Totally. So you see exactly where I want to be, those big box stores.
Yeah.
And you saw like Obey come in.
Oh yeah.
And Obey go out.
Yep. Now it's back to Champion, weirdly enough.
You saw DC come in, and you saw DC go out.
Yeah.
I made that company fucking rich. I had 3 sons. That's all they would fucking wear in high school was DC. I'd buy DC shoes. I'm like, why am I paying $60 for a hat? Because it's DC, Dad.
Yeah.
God,
yeah. And well, the flip side, and I know this is no secret to you, but it kills me like when we make stuff for like Drake's clothing company, and they're printing on like the lowest end quality shirts. And that cost them like $2 a shirt blank or whatever.
No, we don't do that. Our stuff is extremely high quality. They're the softest shirts you'll ever wear. You'll want to sleep in a Suncult shirt. We've had people tell us that. Our hoodies are extra soft. We're getting ready to launch a whole line of swimwear, women's swimwear, after swimwear for women, men's swim trunks. We're getting ready to launch a new revolution that's going on in towels. There's big, huge round towels. We're launching those in like 2 weeks. We're doing a ton of work. I just put in 3 surfboard orders this morning with different colors and stuff going on. So we're constantly edging that up as well. And that's another thing. If you go to the Suncult site, you'll see the boards. They're just not your average boards. Yeah. You can get custom anything. If you call me and you say, I want a board, I'm going to specify. That's why there's no prices.
Right.
Because I don't know. I don't know how tall you are, how heavy set you are. If you want an 8.5 or a 9.1 or a 6.2, like all of this stuff affects the pricing. We are a custom company.
Right.
Now you can get your daughter's face put on it if you want to. You know what I mean?
Right. No, I mean, and that's kind of the thing I've noticed about Suncult, though, and more where I was going with like the thing about Drake's clothing is that like they use shit ass shirts basically and charge like almost $100 for a shirt, and you're like, that's outrageous.
Well, you know what, man? I mean, look, his business model is obviously to rip people off.
But yeah.
But that's and that's probably not him. He probably does. He probably sees the checks from that clothing line, but he probably has nothing to do with it. Bro.
I mean, there's been a few items that he's made that I've definitely, when we did the small sample run, like I helped make them, and then a week later I see it on Instagram. I'm like, well, I touched that.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And look, there's something about the business of apparel that I've always loved. If you can create an emblem, you can create a brand. If you can create a logo that is efficient to move through the muck of society, and that's what we've created with the Sun Cult logo. I mean, the logo itself is the we like to say is the $1 million prize.
Right.
And I'm talking with like, Kevin Zinger and Ivory Daniel, who started SRH Clothing out of San Diego. Those guys are big mentors, man. They do massive business with that clothing line. And so I've been talking to them as well. Hey, what do I do here? What do I do there? And they say the same thing, man. It's lifestyle driven. Let the music and the lifestyle drive it, and it will succeed. And it is succeeding. So you got to work very hard, man. If you're running 5 companies, you got to be in the office at 5 a.m. I sleep 5 hours a night. That's it.
It's more than I can say for a lot of people I deal with out on the West Coast.
I mean, I got to be honest. I slept till 8 this morning, and my wife's like, "My God, you slept for 7 hours." I was like, "Yeah, it's difficult, but I did it."
One of my last 2 questions for you. I saw, that the MC5 reunion tour is getting ready to go around, and you made a tweet about "Call me up. I want to sing for this." In today's...
Who is singing for it?
I don't know, because it was just like Kim Thale from Soundgarden, which I thought that was pretty rad that he's in it. And I was quickly glancing over it because that tour is coming here to Grand Rapids. And so I was kind of looking into it, trying to figure out who is it going to be? Is there going to be like any announcement on who's singing? So I was kind of wondering that myself, and then I saw your tweet. So then I was like, in today's day and age of like, an Axl Rose filling in for AC/DC, if you were to get that call to go out and do an MC5 gig, or is there another band that you would really love to go out and...
I've got a picture of me wearing an MC5 shirt, 7 years old. I got into my parents' record collection and discovered them. They are punk rock. So, and I was always that guy, like, championed that kind of shit. So, like, yeah, I would go do it in a heartbeat. I don't know who's going to be singing it, but they're not going to be as good as me. Call me. I don't care if that sounds pompous or arrogant or whatever. I'm just telling you, if you want to do the MC5 and you want to do it fucking right, and you want to do it with energy and crazy on stage like how they were, then you need to call the guy that can do it right. That guy's name is Dez Fafara.
Well, I think that's as good a place as any to end this chat. I always like to have the guests plug their socials. Where can people find you and or Sun Cult stuff? And
Great. Go. Well, you can go to Instagram. You can find Sun Cult Official there. You can find the Oracle Management there. You can find Dez Fafara there. You can find me on Twitter. I don't have a Facebook. I never have. So anybody you're following on Dez Fafara Facebook, it's not me. It's not me. And feel free to hit me up. I'm one of the guys who's definitely on social media having conversations with people. I'm such a private person, really, that outlet is good for me because I can sit, in my living room and talk to people.
And then I always like to end these episodes with a song. I saw, again, you tweeted that you were looking for new music to jam. So what's maybe something you would like to end the episode out to? Maybe something that would get people into a band or an artist they may not be aware of.
Okay, so this is not metal. This is kind of when you want chill or you want a different vibe. But listen to Kava, Kavakon. They have 3 records out. It's going to be it's your study music. It's your listening music to where you're chilling out. It's amazing stuff, man. Amazing.
And is there a specific song you'd like me to play, or just anything?
Palace of the Tiger is incredible.
All right. Well, Dez, thank you for your time. I will let you get back to whatever it is you have for the rest of your busy day, and thank you very much for taking the time.
Thank you very much. It's back into the office for me until about midnight.
All right. Well, hopefully we'll see you out on the road soon enough.
Take care, man. Thank you.
Bye-bye. So that was my chat with Dez Fafara of DevilDriver. I had a lot of fun talking to him. No, we went a little all over the place there at the end, talking about Sun Cult surfboards and business adventures and so forth. But, Dez is a really interesting individual when it comes to those things. Like, yes, he is known for being a vocalist of 2 really successful bands. But, kind of speaking back to when I said I had met him before on an Ozfest, he was really excited about this wine that he had just made after buying a vineyard and let me try some. At least I believe it was his. I believe that was the story he was saying, was that he had just recently bought a vineyard, him and his wife, and that this was one of the first few batches that he had, and he had brought it on the road, and it was good. I wish it still existed, because it was a nice red, and that's what I like. And yeah, so I mean, I've known that he's always been a very business-minded individual, so to see that he is successful having a management company, having a clothing company, a surfboard company, any and all endeavors that Dez basically has put his mind to over the last 20 some odd years, it's been successful. So for anyone to doubt that he would be successful in anything that he puts his mind to is kind of foolish. So I definitely wanted to talk to him about that, because I figure outside of Forbes, maybe not many people, when they're talking to him about this Outlaws country record, are probably going to want to talk to him about those things. So wanted to say thanks again to Dez for taking the time to talk with me it was about 2 months ago, I think, at this point, when we did this chat. So like I said, I've been sitting on this for a while. Would also like to thank our sponsors, the ever-present sponsor, the Bean Bastard. If you listen to that episode I did with Nick DePero of Night Verses, you heard me sipping on some Bean Bastard Robo Cup. So if you would like to go follow them, you can see them on Facebook and Instagram at the Bean Bastard. And if you would like to purchase some coffee yourself, you can head over to thebeanbastard.com. Soon there will be a promo code. I got to get a hold of Nick and get him on that. I also got to work on a commercial that will actually go in, so that way you don't have to hear me say the same things over and over again. Would also like to thank Foxbat for sponsoring this episode. Again, the song that you heard earlier was Slow Strut off of their upcoming album Rot Gut, coming out August 3rd via Core Sample Records. If you would like to pre-order that via CD or vinyl, they have both options. You can simply head over to www.foxbat.com. If you would like to find them on Facebook and so forth, it's just simply Foxbat. Instagram is Foxbat Music, and I couldn't find them on Twitter, and that's a shame, because I feel like every band should be on Twitter. Lots of fun stuff happens on Twitter. But if you would also like to go check out other songs of theirs, you can go to foxbat.bandcamp.com. If you would like to follow all things DevilDriver, you can find them on Facebook, Instagram, all of those things. Simply just find DevilDriver. It's pretty much going to pop them up. Again, they have a new record coming up, the Outlaws country cover record called Outlaws Til The End, out July 6th, which will be this Friday as of when this is posting, via Napalm Records. Again, the band is hitting the road for a little bit, doing Incarceration Fest. They are playing some dates around Battle Creek and so forth here in Michigan. So if they come around, go see them. And has obviously, as you heard, speculated or not, that there will be a second album of these outlaw countries. It would be fucking insane if they got Glenn Danzig and Corey Taylor and a slew of other people who weren't able to make it on this one. Does not detract or take away from anybody that was on this record currently for the first one, but I mean, you put Glenn Danzig on anything, I'm probably going to be very interested to see how it sounds, because I mean, say what you want, dude's got a great voice, a very iconic voice, and honestly, if you think about this Outlaws country record, I can't imagine him not just slaying that. So be really fucking cool to hear Dez and Danzig on a track. I mean, wow. And if you would like to keep up with our sponsor, Moshpit Nation, you can do such at moshpitnation.com. You can follow them on Facebook at facebook.com/moshpitnationwest, capital M-I. Find them on Instagram and Twitter, simply at Moshpit Nation. And if you would like to keep up with me, you can do such at Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube over at Johnson Title Podcast. You can tweet at me at Johnson Title Pod, and you can email me at johnsontitlepod@gmail.com. That's also a great way to get a hold of me if you would like to sponsor an upcoming episode. Message me for some rates. I can kind of let you know who is coming up that I have. And yeah, let me help you sponsor your band's new song, an album release, or some upcoming shows, or a tour, or anything. Anything you would like to have plugged. If you got a product, send me an email, johnsontitlepod@gmail.com. Let me help you. It's been kind of fun getting some of these people coming on to sponsor the podcast. I never really thought I would have sponsors, but it's been a lot of fun working with Nick and the Bean Bastard. And you heard Heartsick a week ago, and now doing some stuff with Foxbat. So definitely looking forward to getting some more people on here and working with some more people. So again, Johnson Title Pod, and let's work together. And lastly, we always like to end these episodes with a song, And I gotta say, Dez picked a really interesting artist. Kava, I obviously ended up checking them out when I was getting this song. And it's not Palace of the Tiger, it's Palace of the Tiger Women. Just a little quick correction. But I checked out some of the other songs off of this same album, and it's definitely interesting. There's a lot of a few different styles kind of fusing together, and it's very soothing. As I was kind of editing everything and getting this episode all squared away, I found myself going to a few of their different songs. So highly recommended. Like Dez said, it's a not heavy. So if you're looking for something that's a little left of center, maybe this will be a new band that you might enjoy. So without further ado, this is Kava with Palace of the Tiger Women. I'll talk to you next week.